Yo, what's up, YouTube? This is your boy Jay from Keeping It Real, your arbiter of gaming news and commentary, hitting you off with a studio production video where you know this is your channel, where all gamers' voices are heard. With your boy Jay, always dropping the word. Keeping them other gaming YouTubers like, what you heard? And where you always know, we always keep it all the way real. So what's up, everybody? Just want to thank you all for checking out my studio production video today. And I just want to give a special thanks for the gamers who are, going ahead and making your voices be heard in a comment box and letting your thoughts and sharing your thoughts, especially ones that take out the time to do a long thought out comment. Whether I agree with it or not, it doesn't really matter. I'll let you know when you just overboard, but at the end of the day, I appreciate you sharing your thoughts either way. But yeah, man, I want to go ahead and dig in like usual into this, man. And this one's going to be an interesting video about the PS4 Pro. And is Sony thinking about putting out a PS4 Pro, more powerful edition to rival the X? And there's been some rumors and some rumblings about announcements. As you guys know, the PSVR has gotten a refresh where it's it's lessened some of the wires, because it was an octopus. it's still a crap load of wires. Don't get me wrong, but it's less wires, so that's always a good thing. That's at least moving in the right direction. And also, they fixed the issue with the HDR pass through, where you don't have to disconnect it, which is nice. And it looks like the units, the pass through unit, it's a little smaller and more convenient. So of course, this has pissed off a lot of VR owners right now. That's brought the older unit. They're pissed right now because there's no way that you can, you could get an update where you don't have to just buy the whole thing all over again. So I think that's messed up. But that's kind of typical with this type of thing. I think if you're getting VR right now, you should kind of know what you're in for. You're in for a very expensive unit where you're going to have to just pay a lot of money into it. And it's not the best right now. I think a lot of people who get into it, they kind of should know what they're getting into. I think it's really elaborate and expensive. So if you're in that market for something elaborate and expensive, it's kind of like you can't complain when things like that happen, because that's the type of market you're in. So I think that kind of cuts both ways. But what I wanted to dig into is the prospect of a new PS4 Pro to rival the X. Now, you guys might know that there is gonna be a slight refresh on the PS4 Pro. Now, there's rumors about this, but there's been some little rumblings about whether if this was going to include some more power. Now, I think it's pretty clear that I don't think that's the case. Not at all. I think they're going to be improving when it comes to certain circuitry and the architecture in regards to making some of the parts are cheaper, and also the design. It's kind of like what they normally do when it comes to just the architecture of the internals, where they just make them, they're using more cheaper parts and are also being more space efficient, and they're improving, I'm sure, the ventilation of the console, because we all know that the PS4 Pro, when it comes to heating and ventilation, is terrible. Sounds like an airline jet or taking off. So I'm hoping this next version is supposed to better that. And that's what this is more or less about. But this has been a prospect out there. You guys know I did a video about this, about them creating the Xbox X Killer. And I wanted to talk about the prospects of that, because I think Sony is at the point right now where, they're kind of bracing themselves for impact. They know what's about to happen. And it's kind of like they're bracing themselves for impact, because if you look at it from Sony's point of view, in the hardware department, in about a month, they're about to be completely irrelevant in regards to power, in regards to all the multiplats, in regards to even a solid frame rate, when it regards to 4K pixels and super sampling, and I mean the list goes on, Mixer and Game Pass. Like, a lot of people kind of make it like it's just the power with the X. No, it's far more than that. It's all the features that comes with the X. It's the ability to be able to stream games in 4K 60. It's the things, the new innovations like Game Pass and Mixer. It's, you know, it's being able to super sample all of your older games, and even if you don't have a 1080p or 4K TV, you can super sample every game. It's the better graphics on every game that you play. It's the faster load times, the lightning faster load times you're gonna get. It's like when people start experiencing playing games on the X, like I said before, it will be the golden standard. And what people need to understand, that is what Sony is contending with. And that is what they're bracing themselves for. Because then all the BS gets put aside, because people actually get it into their house, or they actually play it at Best Buy or GameStop or anywhere. And when people actually get to experience it, that's when everything becomes real. And that's when the cat's out of the bag. And, you know, that's when the media can't try to slant things this way or that way. It's once it gets into people's hands and people start loving it, there's kind of like not going to be any going back from that. I mean, you know, right now they have plausible deniability, but once the X drop and it actually gets in people's homes, it's one of those things where people notice the difference, and they notice, you know, a lot of people who normally wouldn't have had an X will now have an X, and then they're going to see the superiority in it, and they're going to see what we've been talking about all this time about the features, the great features the Xbox platform has. And it's going to pretty much be a done deal from there. And that's just going to be a wave that Microsoft is going to ride all the way into the end zone, man. It's going to be one of those things that's going to be incredibly impactful. And anyone who doesn't believe it or think it's going to be so, well, you're going to be sadly mistaken. Because it's not about just one thing. It's about how all those one things are put together, and about how they all impact each other, and how they all, you know, add to a greater goal. And that goal is, for Microsoft, this is the best place to play, bar none. When it comes to overall, you know, overall value. And that's what it comes down to, what people are going to notice. And at this point, you know, I'm sure Sony's looking at how can they contend with that. And I talk a lot about this before. This is not going to be, you know, Sony has one thing on its side right now. It still has the image. You know, now, yes, it's vastly losing that. However, at this point, if Sony were to drop what they were calling a more powerful PS4 Pro in the way of 4K, something similar to the X, you know, that would be something that would go two ways. But something they could possibly get away with. And this is the reason why I'm saying that it's interesting to think about, is this is something that's on Sony's mind right now. Now, like I've been telling you guys before, you can't just poop one of these consoles out. This doesn't work that way. It takes a lot of R&D, millions upon millions of dollars of R&D to, you know, to create one of these systems and actually have it be released. It's you know, a lot of fanboys act like it's just something Sony can just poop out, or it's something, you know, Nintendo or any of these hardware manufacturers can just poop out at any time that they want to. Like, the X was in years of preparation. Like, they had to look into the future and suspect what they wanted, and then wait to make sure the parts was cheap enough to be able to get it, and make sure it was impactful enough. I mean, this was years upon years of planning. So, you know, and they never reacted to what Sony was doing. That was what they wanted to do. That was their vision. A lot of people think they did that because of the Pro. Like, what are you talking about? It was in the making well before the Pro was ever announced or ever known of. And that's the thing. Sony wouldn't have enough time. Like, anyone who's thinking that a PS5 is going to come out anytime before 2019 or 2020, you're wrong. More than likely, you'll see a PS5 around 2020. no earlier than that, because it takes time. And also, a lot of the technology is not moving that quickly in regards to these components that, you know, your future console would need. It's not like these components are just getting cheaper, or technology is moving that quickly that it could be, technology like that could be that cheap that you could put it in a console that's going to be affordable for people. It's just like technology is not moving that fast. So the interesting prospect of it is really interesting. But the fact is, you know, if anyone who's thinking that, because I've been hearing rumblings of this, you're unfortunately dead wrong. They're not going to be able to, you know, this is one of those things where Sony's not going to be able to respond for quite some time, and Sony knows it. So what their plan is at this point is just to crank out, to keep on trying to buy as many marketing rights as they can and crank out as many exclusives as they can to try to stay relevant. I mean, that's all they're gonna do for the next 3 years. And good thing for them is that yes, they I think they can stay afloat just fine. Obviously their sales numbers are gonna take a huge hit. And Microsoft is gonna catch up greatly. But that's how the market goes. You know, it's really funny, man. Like, people think that somehow because it's Sony, they don't know the history that Sony went up and down, just like Microsoft went up and down, just like Nintendo went up and down. All these game manufacturers go up and down. You know what I mean? Like, I don't expect Microsoft is gonna be, even if Microsoft does, they let's just say this next half they do so well, they catch up with Sony and they even surpass Sony. I'm not gonna think for 1 second that they're gonna stay on top like that. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't work that way. Like, it'll be, all that's gonna do is embolden Sony to get their act together even more so and do something to garner some more market share. That's just how it works. I mean, that's how competition works. So you got to understand that none of these companies are never going to be on top forever. It's like they're going to have their time and then they're going to fall a little bit. Then they're going to get humbled and then rise up again. It's like it goes back and forth. And you got to understand that leadership goes back and forth. Now, the one great saving grace that I like about Microsoft right now currently is that at least they're listening to gamers, and they got a real gamer who's a president and that the leader of Xbox, and someone we can speak to, someone who responds to gamers and who listens to what we want, and someone who has their ear on the ground, and has their finger on the pulse. I like that. You don't have that with the other manufacturers. So that's the great thing about Microsoft right now. But something can happen to Phil, God forbid, or Phil could step down or whatever, and then the direction for Xbox can change. I'm just talking about in the future, right? If that happens, then Xbox could fall down, and then Sony picks it up. So I'm just saying that, like, that's why when you're on Team Xbox just because it's Xbox, or when you're on Team Sony just because it's Sony, you don't get yourself anywhere, because at the end of the day, you're being for a company or corporation that it ain't making you no money. Like, what is the point? At the end of the day, you need to be about the games, and you need to be about the features, and you need to be about your online experiences. You need to be about, what is my value that I'm getting out of this platform versus my money. And when you're about that, you always win, because you're going to be always in a place where you're going to get the best bang for your buck, and you're going to make sure overall you're getting the best value for what your investment is. And that's just being a smart gamer. And that's the point that I try to make to guys, man. You have to just be a smart gamer, man. You just gotta, and you gotta game. If you're a gamer, game. Stop all this, oh, well, I'm about this piece of plastic and I'm about that. I mean, does that all matter? Man, what matters is the games that you're playing and loving, and the experiences that you're having playing those games. For a lot of us guys, playing games is bigger than just games. It's about a freedom of our expression. When we play games, we put ourselves into that game and we express ourselves through that game. You know what I mean? And we do things in the world to express our feelings, our thoughts, and what we want to do. You know what I mean? And like, whether if it's Grand Theft Auto or whether if it's, you know, Gears of War or Destiny, you know, whatever the game that you're playing, you're experiencing it in a way where you put yourself in a game and you're expressing yourself, and you're de-escalating your stress. You're taking yourself out of whatever problems that you might be having and inserting yourself in a game, and you're having fun and enjoying yourself. And that's an incredible thing that a lot of us gamers, you know, that's what we enjoy to do. And you got to understand that, man, when you be just about your games and loving them, you always win, because at the end of the day, you're just going to always go where the games are at, and everything else is not going to really matter all that much, you know. And you're going to also go where the value's at, where you get the most valuable experience, you know. And that's what matters at the end of the day. So complaining about my game is better and, you know, you ain't got nothing, you ain't got no excuses, I got better ones than you, and all this I mean, all that does is distract from you loving games, you know what I mean? And it just creates a wedge between gamers where it really shouldn't be a wedge existing, because at the end of the day, we all should just be passionate about playing video games. So, man, yeah, I just wanted to break that down. I think, you know, right now, with Sony, it's one of those things where, you know, I've been hearing these you know, real rumors, or there's going to be, you know, a stronger PS4, and I just want to break that down why I don't see that happening. I don't see them doing anything in regards to power until PS5, and, you know, that's to be expected, because when we get the next version of the PS4 that's a leap, I want it to be a full leap, you know. I want it to be something on the next level, and that's what I'm looking forward to, because that's going to be the PS4 or the PlayStation I'm gonna buy, you know what I mean? Because I'm looking for that, and I'm looking for it being able to play the multiplats and its exclusives in a way that I can't play on any other console. You know, it needs to add something unique, and that's why I think the X is doing. It's adding. Now, that's why a lot of people talk about it like, okay, what is it doing? It's giving 4K. No, it's actually giving you more than 4K. It's doing something no other console has done before it. You know, I get these comments that, oh, the X ain't gonna do nothing. It ain't nothing. It's, you know, especially even from some PC guys. And it's like, no, the X is doing something. It's doing something no other console has ever done. What are you talking about? It's in a position where on multiple games, it's looked better than the PC version. That's never been done before with the console. It's also in a position where it can provide PC quality, but console simplicity. That's never been done. It's in a market of its own. This is the reason why it's being talked about as it's its own thing. It simply just means it's in a market onto itself. There's nothing else like it. And that's what I would like to see with the PS4. And whatever they do, I would want them to innovate in a way where there's nothing else like it. You know, and there's more to it than just your exclusives. Because as we know, just like with Xbox, what a lot of these fanboys don't like to talk about is PS4's exclusives are increasingly going to PC as well. You know, are they not exclusives anymore? Well, of course they are. They're still console exclusives. You can still only get them on the PS4 console. Yeah, a lot of these exclusives for PS4 are coming to PC and will continue to go to PC. But they're still console exclusives. You know, I like how they understand it for PS4, but they somehow don't understand it for Xbox. Like, you know, the double standard with these people is just like, but that's when you know people are not serious and they're a joke, because, you know, they're just total hypocrites. It only applies when it comes to their narrative, but when it comes to just overall in general, no, it doesn't apply. Like, just shut up. Like, these people are so ridiculous, and, you know, you just gotta laugh at them because they're just jokes. But I digress. But yeah, man. That's pretty much my take on that, man. I just wanted to go ahead and you know, express what I thought on that, and, you know, see what you guys think. Do you guys think Sony's gonna be, you know, actually coming out with something more than just, you know, just making it sound, you know, reducing the noise and making it a little cheaper? Is it gonna be where they're actually gonna do something to make it more powerful? You guys let me.
This is Jay.
All right, man.
I'm always keeping it real, and I'm gone.